Hey guys, Zack here, and welcome back to another action figure review, and today we'll be taking a look at the Bandai movie monster series Gorosaurus. Now, this monster comes from the 1967 film King Kong Escapes, which, unfortunately, I'm going to be honest with you, I haven't seen that movie, so I can't really give you my thoughts on it. However, he does also appear in Destroy All Monsters, which is a movie I have seen, and I like it. You know, it's not my favorite Godzilla movie, but Destroy All Monsters is still a movie that I think is very enjoyable. I know some people don't really like it because it focuses more on the humans than it does on the monsters, which, yeah, I agree with that, but for me at least, there's enough going on in the actual story to where, it's still interesting. It's not like with Godzilla 2014, where, they're in the middle of a monster fight and then they just cut to the humans. They focus on the humans, but when the monsters are on screen, they don't cut away from that. It's just the monsters doing their thing. So, yeah. Destroy All Monsters is a good movie, not my favorite, but still very enjoyable, but yeah. Also, as far as Gorosaurus goes, I gotta be honest with you, Gorosaurus is not my favorite monster in the Godzilla universe. I don't hate him, but, he's just bland. I mean, he has a cool kangaroo kick, but other than that, he's just a regular theropod dinosaur. Just a regular tripod standing theropod dinosaur, so yeah, Gorosaurus, not my favorite, but still not my least favorite. Gorosaurus is still pretty alright, so yeah. Anyway, with all that out of the way, let's just get right into this. Before we take a look at the figure itself, let's take a quick look at his tag. So for the front here, we have a nice picture of Gorosaurus from, I want to say Destroy All Monsters, though for all I know, it could be King Kong Escapes. I don't know. Like I said, I haven't seen that movie yet. But yeah, there's Gorosaurus. And it says it right there in Japanese, Godzilla 2021. On the back, we just have Movie Monster Series, Bandai, and more legal information with Gorosaurus' back here. And some legal information with a nice silhouette of Gorosaurus here. You've seen these before, so yeah. There you go. Of course, to start this review, we'll take a look at the painting on this figure. And the painting on this figure, for a Bandai vinyl, is actually really nice, so let's take a closer look. So, of course, most of the body is this bluish color, and we also have this nice highlight of this greenish bluish color, which I think looks really nice. Makes the detailing really pop. You can especially see it on the legs here and on the shoulders here. So, yeah, again, I think that looks really nice. His toenails and fingernails are airbrushed this nice white color, which I think looks really nice. Going to the head here, we can see that his eyes are painted white with black pupils. There you go. Sorry about that. There you go. White with black pupils. The teeth are painted a whitish yellowish color, which I think looks nice. And the inside of the mouth is painted a nice glossy pink, which, also looks really nice. And for some reason on mine, there's this weird now that I look at it, I think it's I think it's damage. I don't think that's a paint mishap. I think that's actual damage, which is kind of unfortunate, but it's not really too noticeable, so honestly I can live with it. And of course the underside of the figure is this nice whitish yellowish color. I will say this though, it just sort of stops here. It doesn't really continue underneath the tail, but this is a Bandai vinyl, so that is to be expected. But a thing I find weird is that there's that coloration underneath this arm, but not this arm. I don't know why, I just think that's a little weird, but again, not the end of the world, just very minor nitpicks. But overall, the painting on this figure, like I said, for a Bandai vinyl, is really nice. So the painting on this figure definitely gets a pass. Now, we'll be taking a look at the articulation. And the articulation on this figure, it's a Bandai vinyl. It's pretty self-explanatory. These guys don't usually have the most points of articulation, but the arms can move 360. The legs can kick forward that much, and it can move backwards about that much. The tail can move 360, but unfortunately, the head can't twist 360. There's a very noticeable seam there, so yeah, unfortunately, you can't get that to move, which is unfortunate, but not the end of the world. And yeah, that's pretty much it for the articulation. Again, not a whole lot, but it's a Bandai vinyl. What else do you expect? It's pretty average, so the articulation on this figure, I'd say gets a pass. Now we'll take a look at the sculpting on this figure, and the sculpting on this figure, it's really good. That's all I have to say. It's just a really nice sculpt. I don't really have anything to add. It's it's just Gorosaurus. It's one-to-one to how he looked in the movie. Maybe some, like, minor alterations. This is a Bandai vinyl, so when working with vinyl, usually when they sculpt these figures, they do have to take some, like, sacrifices for the sculpting, because vinyl is kind of a weird material to work with. So, like, some minor things, like, aren't really one-to-one. For example, like the teeth here. The teeth are kind of, like, sculpted on the gums, which, like, in concept looks really weird, but they only do that because it's vinyl. And the material is just, like I said, just really weird to work with. But, like, yeah, minor stuff like that. But overall, the sculpting on this figure is pretty much perfect. It's, just Gorosaurus. I mean, yeah, on mine there's a scrape here, but again, that's not on every figure. It's, this is just Gorosaurus. I don't know what else to say. So, yeah, the sculpting, it looks very spot on. So, yeah, I like it. The sculpting on this figure is good. So, yeah, it gets a pass. Now we'll take a look at the detailing. And the detailing on this figure is actually very nice. So let's take a closer look. So, of course, on the head here, we can see that all of these scales and the little, his brow here is detailed very nicely. Just a lot of really nice defining here. And even, like, on the neck here, you can see there's just a lot of nice, like, creases and folds to give this that, like, guy in a rubber suit feel, which I think looks great. And again, going to the arms here, just this really nice scaling throughout the figure. And just more, like, folds. Again, to sort of, like, I guess sort of emulate this, like, guy in a suit look, which I think looks really nice. And again, all the creases and folds and everything like that, the scaling, just very beautifully defined. And of course, going to the tail here, we have all the creases, which again, look really nice. And overall, all the scaling and everything like that, detailed very nicely. I never realized until, like, just recently that Gorosaurus has this, like, little spike at the end of his tail. I think that, I don't know, it's a very minor detail, but I don't know how I feel about that. But, yeah, especially in the front of the body here, you can see just, like, all the creases and everything like that. Which, again, just looks really nice. Just very, like, very beautifully defined. And, yeah, that's pretty much it for the detailing. All the scaling and all of, like, the creases and, like, folds in the skin, I think looks really nice. Really gives it that, like, guy in a rubber suit feel. So, yeah, overall, I think the detailing on this figure is fantastic. So, the detailing here definitely gets a pass. Now, we'll do some size comparisons. Here's the Virgin Gorosaurus next to the Chad Titanosaurus. Here is the Bandai Movie Monster Series Megalon. And here's the Bandai Movie Monster Series Godzilla 1954. And that's my one issue with Gorosaurus here. He's just so small. Like, overall, I think he's a really good figure, but for some reason, they just decided to make him so short and just so puny, and he just doesn't scale well with the other monsters at all. And honestly, this is just really upsetting to me. Not the end of the world. Like, overall, it's still a very nice figure. The painting, the sculpting, detailing, all that, like, it's great. This figure is overall just a great figure, but why'd they have to make him so short? I mean, that just doesn't look right, but yeah. Anyway, here is Dr. Billy Grant. There they are. Or there he is, sorry. And here is some hand sanitizer. So at the end of the day, should you get this figure? Honestly, I'd say yeah. Originally, I was going to get the Playmates one, which, when I reviewed the Playmates Rodan figure, I mentioned that I was never able to find that figure because it is incredibly rare. And I still have yet to find that figure. Every time I go into a Target, it's just not there. And, it's just a little upsetting at first. But then Bandai announced this guy, so I was just kind of like, oh, well, why don't I just get this guy instead? He looks much better, so yeah, I mean, sure, he's more expensive, but like I said, he just looks better, so why don't I just order him? So sure enough, I ordered him, and I don't really have as much interest in finding the Playmates Gorosaurus. If I do find him, I might buy him, and I'll definitely review him if I do, but that's a big if, because this figure is more than serviceable, and comparing this figure to that figure, yeah, this figure, I'm just going to say this figure just looks much better. I mean, yeah, the size is a little disappointing, but overall, I think the detailing here is great, the sculpting and the paint. Everything about this figure is just 10 times better than the Playmates one from what I've seen. So, yeah, I'm happy I went with this figure instead of the Playmates one, so I do recommend this figure. It is a really good one. Not perfect, very minor, like, nitpicks I have with this figure, but overall, like, yeah, this is a really nice figure, so I do recommend it. However, there is one tricky thing with this figure that I don't understand. Now, when Bandai announced this figure, I thought, hey, that's pretty cool, a Gorosaurus Bandai vinyl. Where do I sign? Upon further research, they decided to make this figure a Godzilla store exclusive, which, if you don't know, in Japan, there is a Godzilla store that, well, in case you couldn't tell by the title, sells Godzilla stuff, whether it be figures, shirts, hats, whatever. Just anything Godzilla related, that store probably sells, which sounds cool, but the only problem is that that's all the way in Japan, and I'm over here in America, so I can't just casually walk over there. It's like, I have to buy. It's just this big hassle. So the fact that they made this figure like exclusive to the Godzilla store, to me, is just kind of like, I don't get that. Like, why would they do that? You know, it just doesn't make any sense to me. So as far as pricing goes, this figure is a little more expensive than your traditional Bandai vinyl. I'd pay like 43 to 45 bucks, which, to be fair, isn't the most I've spent for a newer Bandai vinyl. The Godzilla the Ride King Ghidorah Bandai vinyl costed me like 90 bucks, so 45 bucks isn't too bad at all. But it's still a little more than what I've preferred. So, yeah. I do recommend this figure still. This is a very nice figure, despite the size. Like I said, I think that this is a very nice figure. But the whole Godzilla store exclusive thing will make this figure a little tricky to come by in the future. So, yeah. But, like I just said, I do recommend this figure. Definitely get him if you can. So, yeah. Anyway, that is it for today. Have a great rest of your week, and I will see you in the next video. Peace, Zack out.